We are offering freelance services in data analytics, machine learning, audio engineering, and web development. Feel free to check out our website, services section, to see our portfolio and what we can do. And book a call with us to discuss your data challenges. We'll be happy to help you out. This is Data for Future. Enjoy this episode. Welcome to Data for Future. This is episode 47. Today, our guest is Carlos Gomez. Welcome, Carlos, to our show.
Thank you, Pablo. Thanks for having me.
Super happy to have you on our show. And just to give a brief introduction to our guest, Carlos is the Chief Investment Officer at Belobaba Crypto Asset Fund, which is a crypto hedge fund.
Correct.
One of the few that I've heard about, and also a board member at the Blockchain Institute and Technology here in Barcelona, as well as lecturer in some seasons during the year. And well, I guess a very enthusiastic crypto expert. So super happy to have you on our show and share your expertise with our listeners.
Thank you. Thanks, Pablo. I'm happy to be here and share a few experiences and ideas with your audience and with you. Yeah.
Perfect. So why don't we start with something very generic? And for all those who are not so familiar with blockchain, normally I have struggled a lot understanding it when I was listening about, educating myself about blockchain in the beginning. So as you are a very good expert in this topic in general, could we start by trying to explain blockchain to a 6 years old? How would it sound in your own words?
Okay. Well, it's a very broad and not very easy question, but let's try to make it very, very plain and simple for everybody. Let's say that blockchain, it could be a piece of infrastructure, but also could be an information system. What do I mean by infrastructure? Infrastructure is something. It's something that allows you to transfer value from point A to point B, and by value could be a coin who have certain monetary value, and could be information that we know that it could have even more monetary value. And by an information system, I mean by something that we can record information, we can record actions, we can record something that really happened, and it have the benefit that it's immutable. And by immutable, it's it's something that it can be changed, it can be altered, it can be corrupt, and they have a strong value for everybody, because we know is that once recorded in the blockchain, it's there forever. So that's the ultimate source of truth, and that's very valuable, because we know that people can change their mind, they can change the document, some ideas can be twisted, some documents can be forged, but blockchain allows to, once it's there forever in the original state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a very good point, by the way, that you mentioned. We switched from crypto right into blockchain.
Yes.
And maybe for many people, it's also kind of the same things, although they're not. Blockchain can be, as you said, it might be used for coins and for digital money, but it can be used for other things.
Well, it is and it's not. For example, they can be a cryptocurrency without a blockchain to run on.
Uh-huh.
So when Bitcoin was invented, one of the key features of the main enabler of Bitcoin is a blockchain. So the only way to move a Bitcoin from point A to point B is through a blockchain. So that's a part of platform. That's a part of the infrastructure I was referring to. So you could have cryptocurrencies, but always we have a blockchain. But also you can have blockchains with another applications that do not involve cryptocurrencies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very good distinction. Thanks for that. But definitely two different things. But normally when you speak about Ethereum and Bitcoin, exactly, cryptocurrency as we know them, it's with blockchain, and it has, as you said,
they come together. Yes.
Exactly, they come together. And in a very beautiful way, that there is incentive mechanism for people to maintain the system secure.
And do the right things. That's right.
Exactly. So how did blockchain and crypto catch your attention in the first place? I know you have a very interesting story to tell about this.
Yeah, sure. That was back in 2015. Let's remember that Bitcoin was invented in 2009. However, I didn't know anything about cryptos or blockchain until 2015, and it happened by chance, pretty much. So that was fluke. I was halfway with my law degree, and I was one night walking out of Sydney University, walking home, and I said, "Okay, what would be the best area of law to practice? Because I'm doing this as my second career, so I really want to practice an area of law that is innovative." And that night at home, I Googled, which is tells something about the Google algorithm. And I asked Google to bring me innovative areas of law. And the first research result that came to my computer was the concept of a smart contract. When I saw it, I thought, okay, that's contract law in a smart way, which I thought that was pretty logic. But other than that, I was wrong for the right reason. So that's how I discovered the Ethereum blockchain. That smart contract is a program. It's an application that you can program into the Ethereum blockchain. So and since that night, I was hooked and I never looked back. So long story short, I discovered Ethereum before Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's,
Yeah.
that's pretty crazy. And how was your way from that point in 2015 to be
Well,
to becoming a chief investment officer in a
well,
crypto asset fund?
we live in the information age,
Mm-hmm.
and you know that people like you are working hard to promote knowledge, to interview people, and put this concept, this information out there. So since that night, I started consuming tons of quantities of content regarding the topic. So I was a self-taught
Mm-hmm.
practically. So I make myself knowledgeable in the area. And then, meanwhile, I was having a normal job. I was developing this mindset, and then I always knew that one day I would like to jump into the blockchain environment, and that opportunity came early in 2018 when I
Mm-hmm.
just simply left Sydney. I came to the United States to work in a blockchain project. And since 2018, I've been living here in Florida very happily and working exclusively in blockchain and crypto projects.
That's pretty crazy. But still, it
Yeah.
sounds to me like so simple. I'm sure. I'm sure it was not that simple. I guess you need some financial background, or how was it
Uh,
in your way? In your case?
well, it's not very, very, very simple. However, it's no more complex than other concepts that we face day to day. So it's no more complex than taxation, for example.
Uh huh.
So if you have to face once a year your tax declaration, and if you can go through and make any sense of what's going on in this form, I'm sure that you will be fine if you invest 1 hour or two trying to understand what blockchain is.
Yeah. Okay, totally agree. Probably it is. It is like you say. And well, from these then 6 years of experience, one of the topics that I would like to discuss with you about blockchain and crypto is sustainability, because we at Data for Future we always try to unite the technology with some reason behind. So in this
Yes.
case, for us, it's sustainability. It can be social sustainability, so something for a social cause. It might be an
Yes.
environmental cause, and
Yes.
I'm sure you have lots of examples of how blockchain and crypto are used today already, or might be used in the future, that would be beneficial for those causes.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. As you mentioned, the concept of sustainability is very broad, but it's very important. And also, even especially when Elon Musk made, he jumped into the wagon last year, becoming himself as a Bitcoin guy. But later on, he said, "Oh, I didn't realize that the Bitcoin mining was consume a lot of electricity. I'm not sure if it's good for the environment. That caused a lot of problems for the community." But since then,
Mm-hmm.
we have walked a long way. So I think, to his credit, he put the environmental and the sustainability concept in front of the crypto and blockchain community. So in my opinion, his tweet was the trigger that now everybody have to think in parallel. Okay, let's develop a solid crypto blockchain business, but also let's think seriously in sustainability. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
so that was the background. So back to the concept. Look, we can find interested in examples. So, for example, let's say that you are an African farmer, and you grow your crops, and you have a small farm and work completely in an ethical and sustainable fashion. However, you don't have the infrastructure, you don't have the power to reach international markets, to commercialize your products in an efficient way. Okay, Now, let's assume that you are a very powerful buyer or a trader in Europe, let's say in the Netherlands, that is one of the largest maritime ports in Europe, that they receive a lot of products and then they distribute across the European Union. Okay, you obviously are environmentally conscious, as the Europeans are, which is good, but you don't know where to secure and where to produce and where to find someone who can send you products in a sustainable way that have been
Mm-hmm.
harvested in a sustainable way. Well, okay, let's say, for example, the issue about palm oil. We know that the palm oil is causing a lot of controversy, especially in Southeast Asia, because there's a lot of problem with deforestation, violation of human rights. So there are allegations that they are being handled. However, in Africa, you have a lot of farmers that they can grow palm oil in a sustainable way because they don't have to deforest anything, because the palm oil it came from palm tree, the African palm tree, which is, again, hey, is native from Africa. So
Mm-hmm.
it grows naturally in the forest. So it just grow and harvest in a very natural way. So the Europeans are willing, listen to that, they're willing to pay a premium to African farmers for a sustainable palm oil, because that produce doesn't come attached to a lot of problems that are caused in other regions. But
Mm-hmm.
now, how a trader in Netherlands can be sure that all across the supply chains, the whole process is clean? Well, remember the other application of the information system, when we say that we can record in an immutable way information. So if we use a blockchain solution, when all across the supply chain we can certify via documents, via photos, via videos, that these products, this package, this content of goods have been harvested, have been transported, and have been dealt with in a sustainable way. And you can be sure that all across the chain, from, I don't know, Western Africa to the Netherlands, it's sound and proper. Well, these traders in the Netherlands can be sure, and they can issue a payment.
Mm-hmm.
So and then so again, the information system allows you and enables sustainable farming. So I think this is great. And also the
Mm-hmm.
trader, if the farmer in Western Africa that is no bank, well, you can use again the cryptocurrency application of blockchain to issue payments to the farmer, and the farmers
Uh-huh.
can receive currencies that are very liquid as Bitcoin or Ether, just
Mm-hmm.
to, yeah, make a decent living. So that's fantastic. That's from the sustainable and social environment.
Yeah, definitely.
Example. Yeah.
Actually, it reminds me of one of the project that we interviewed called Ethic Hub. Check
Okay.
out the other episode as well if you're listening to this.
Well.
It was really amazing where they used crypto to create a very secure network between investors and farmers. So as you say, like a bank that can issue money to the farmers in a sustainable and secure and fast way. So
Oh,
they did
makes
something
sense.
very similar to this.
It makes sense.
And
This is a great idea. That's right. I will check it out for sure.
uh-huh. But definitely one of really great examples. I wanted to discuss, the uses of the blockchain and crypto for good, because I think there is still so much, at least in my social circle, there is still so much misunderstanding what's regarding blockchain or crypto. There are some
Yeah.
negative thoughts or negative perceptions of it, because somewhere in some article someone read that it's used by drug dealers and stuff like that. And I thought, why cannot I find so easily good applications of this technology that are already happening today? So yeah, thank you
Yeah.
for revealing some of them. Any other things that come to your mind that you were, so one
Yeah.
you discussed right now about the supply chain certification?
Yes,
Great
probably,
example.
probably just to piggyback on the last comment you made about the bad uses, and I say,
Yes.
look, I mean, we have to understand that blockchain, as any other feature in life, such as social media, such as the proper internet itself, can be used by humans for good and for bad. For example,
Mm.
we know that YouTube videos have been used to perpetrate very serious criminal acts, and we know that even the established banking system, even with all the regulations, with all the controls, have been used to launder money. So I think it's just, don't blame the blockchain, blame the human. So
Yeah.
so you can just at the end of the day, the one who can choose to use something for good or for bad is the user itself, another platform. So
Hmm.
it's that's my defense to blockchain and Bitcoin. I mean, it's
Yeah, yeah,
not an enable, so it's not that we're opening the gate for something terrible. You simply there is a minority of us that unfortunately choose to take the wrong path, and they can take advantage of anything that it's available. And blockchain
yeah.
is just one of the things available out there. So
No,
that's it. It's
definitely,
sad, but that's it.
definitely. I cannot agree more. The same with AI. So when I
Yeah,
started in the field and started to learn AI, actually, the majority of the
yeah. For
information I
example,
was consuming was had a very negative aspect to it.
absolutely.
Obviously, it's not. It's just a tool. It's just a hammer. The question is
That's
how.
right. It's how you use it. It's how you use it. That's right.
Definitely. So, any other
Yeah.
use cases before we jumped into next sections
Yes, obviously,
that you would like to
just
share?
just
Uh-huh.
another things that people. There is a lot of articles says about the energy consumption. So I
Ah,
think
yeah.
we have came along in the last 3 months. A lot of research that said that what we originally thought there was a lot of energy consumption. When you compare and in comparison with another industry, well, it's not that bad actually. When you compare the output over the energy consumption. It's not obviously the most efficient, but it's not by far the less efficient either. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's we are right in between. I don't think that could be the negative flag of blockchain, especially Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. But having said that, I have another example. I've been working with a friend of mine in Mexico. He's working with farmers in Mexico, and they're trying to develop an ecosystem again when they can prove using blockchain and using data acquisition through Internet of Things, readers
Mm-hmm.
and metals, and record information in a blockchain that again is immutable. They can prove that through their farming activities, they can simply help the environment, and then they can use all the information they're using. I'm not an expert in that type of area, but what I can understand is that they can use this information to prove to the regulatory bodies to get a certification that they
Mm-hmm.
are contributing to the CO2 sequestration. So they are contributing just to get for the good of the environment, and that information could be used even to receive green bonds. And
Mm-hmm.
those green bonds could be sold and could be traded in secondary markets, and the money could be reinvested in farming activities. So I think it's a very good initiative that it's happening in the north of Mexico right now.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. I guess
Yes.
could we maybe even extrapolate this and generalize to something like if it involves tracking,
Mhm.
blockchain proves to be incredibly useful, right?
Absolutely,
Especially
absolutely.
in any kind of application, I would say, right?
Yes, you
Because
name it. You name it. We
yeah,
can just simply you name it. Let's have a coffee, and in half an hour we'll find a way. So yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, no,
definitely.
seriously. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Especially, I
no.
guess, when there is a human element involved in the system,
Hmm.
because as we know, humans, if it's a very complex system, humans make mistakes. Maybe
Hmm.
they make mistakes on purpose. If it's
Yeah,
if we speak about corruption, so there are also use cases which we try to prevent, and blockchain allows to do it really
yeah,
in a
yeah.
very elegant fashion, I'd say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
very
put it
great.
beautifully. Yeah,
Uh
you
huh.
put it beautifully. That could be on purpose, but also could be not on purpose. But regardless that it was on purpose or not, the mistake, the other party have to have the confidence that what they are reading,
Hmm.
it's accurate and it's the real truth. So
Exactly.
that remove a layer of intermediaries that are there to certify and over certify, and they eat profits, and those profits sometimes are at the expense of the people who need it the most.
Hmm.
So yeah, let's think about that for a second.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, very, very good example. So thank you a lot. And actually, one follow up question on what you said about Bitcoin that the energy consumption is quite high.
Yes.
I was always wondering if the community agrees that okay, let's move. So right now there is a proof of work in
Yes.
Bitcoin, which means that there are some to verify the transactions when someone sends Bitcoin from one place to another. Someone
Hmm.
else's computer has to solve an equation, and
Yes.
that's how the energy is burned, basically. So
Yes.
there is another alternative to it, which is called proof of stake, which does not involve any computational power consumption.
Correct.
Um, we don't need to dive into that too deep. I was just wondering, is it even possible for, let's say, for Bitcoin to switch from proof of work to proof of stake, or it will stay like it is forever?
It technically it is possible. However, I mean, my personal answer would be highly unlikely. And the way I see it is that the Bitcoin community at the moment is more conscious of that issue, and the way that they are addressing the fact is not just simply running away from the mining proof of work philosophy, rather than to use more renewable sources of energy to power the computers required to mine. So I think is that with all this ban in China, a lot of miners and operators are migrating to, I don't know, neighboring countries, and also a lot of hashing power, or a lot of miners are coming even to the United States and using unused energy sources. That this is something I'm not expert on, but I find quite ironic. Nuclear sources, and we call nuclear sources renewable sources, what I found is interesting, but I'm not going to question that. I'll take from the experts. So miners are coming to Texas and Florida to power mining machines using renewable sources. So I think that's the way that the Bitcoin community is addressing the issue, rather than walking away from the structure.
Very, super interesting. Just to make sure, like, for anyone who's not familiar, mining is simply the process of verifying transactions. So if you want to participate in the process and you connect to the system with your computer, normally it's graphic cards, GPUs that solve this, and this process is called mining, which you get rewarded for. Simply right. to make sure everyone is on our boat and understanding what's going on.
Yes. All right, and it's a competition. It's a competition. The one who have the more powerful computer has a greater chance to resolve the mathematical equation first, and then get the reward, which are bitcoins every 10 minutes.
Yeah. Exactly, and therefore the energy consumption. Yes, you need very powerful.
Of course, there is a strong relation. It's a correlation between power in the computer and the energy consumption. Yeah.
Yeah. Another question I had is one of the most inspiring use cases for me for crypto in general, not specifically for Bitcoin, is that it's very democratic. There is no barrier. It's like, there is less barrier. Of course, there's always some kind of barrier, like education. You need internet, you need phone. But many people who have no banking access have a phone and internet in developing countries. And for me, this has been one of the biggest, one of the things with the biggest potential, in my view, to give those 25% of the global population access to financial system through crypto. What do you think about that? Like, why did it not happen yet? Is it simply because we need more time? What's your view on that?
Okay. I'll give you an example. I'll give you the most obvious success case briefly, and then I'll go backwards to show you what we have to do to replicate that. El Salvador. El Salvador, as we know, is a country in Central America, not very wealthy, beautiful people, but we know that the economy is not one of the strongest. However, the president made Bitcoin a legal tender in the country, and to be able to do that, the government have to deploy, for example, Bitcoin wallets to all the population, because it's not something that it's making illegal, it's just making official. So Bitcoin is the official currency of the country. So now when people are going to their market to buy food, they could pay in Bitcoin. Even the most humble person that can barely read and write, they can use Bitcoin. So what they did is just simply, I'm not getting to the political controversy if the president is good or bad. However, they deploy to the population Bitcoin wallets. They deploy a minimal infrastructure that allow people to have ATMs. They deploy an infrastructure that allow people to get educated. And now only 21 days, 23 days officially at the time of this recording, after Bitcoin was declared official, now you have 2.1 Bitcoin wallets in use in El Salvador. Let's say that El Salvador only have 1.2 bank accounts, million of bank accounts. So now in 23 days, now you have pretty much 30% more Bitcoin wallets than bank accounts in this small country. So that tells you how powerful in terms of the adoption is that. So now that's a success story no matter
Mm-hmm.
what. So nobody can deny that. So
Hmm.
what we need to do, one, education. But however, education is free and available. So you have good resources, you have bad resources. But however, you have plenty of great resources available in any
Hmm.
language, in English, in Spanish, in Chinese, and you name it. Infrastructure. It's true that you need a smartphone. Well, you could, but you could use certain transactions using a computer. It's true that you need a computer, but it's also true that you can find communal computers in social
Mm-hmm.
centers.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's also true that you don't have to ask permission to anybody to join the network. Nobody's a gatekeeper. So regardless your race, your gender, to whatever condition,
Yeah.
whatever characteristic you have as a human being, nobody's gonna ask you for anything. You're simply welcome. You just have to join the network,
Hmm.
and that's fantastic. So I think you only have to be willing to, well, obviously know that Bitcoin exists, and willing to learn a little bit, and just willing to jump into it.
Hmm.
So as opposed to where you came from, three reference, copy of your passport, yeah, you name it. So it just a certain process, certain roadblocks are simply archaic
Yeah.
in 2021.
Well, that's astonishing. I never heard of that. It's a very hot news as well. I'm sure it's hot news for many listeners. Didn't
Yeah,
hear about this in El Salvador, and
yeah,
pretty inspiring. Do
it
you know
is.
if Bitcoin will become the currency used by the transactions happen inside the government? So, for example, the payments
Do
to
you mean
the
in El Salvador?
yes.
Yeah. Of course, of course, of course. It's a way that the tax is going to be paid. It's a way that some
Oh wow.
salaries are going to be paid. So they're still going to maintain the U.S. dollar as a
Mm-hmm.
parallel legal tender for people who want. But obviously, if you walk into a bank branch and you say, "Hey, I have bitcoins, I want to deposit," they have to take them. So that's magic.
That's
So
incredible.
it's incredible. It's incredible. It's
Also,
incredible.
because in my country where I'm from, in Ukraine, one of the biggest
Yes.
problems the country has is corruption. In my view, if all the country used Bitcoin, any cryptocurrency with a public ledger,
Yes.
the problem would probably not disappear, but we would have so much more transparency to what's going on. Because right now,
Yes.
no one can answer many questions. Who, where the money comes from and goes to. It's very edgy topics, and
And that's a good point, Pablo, because for example, in the countries where for some reason there are some monetary issues, where there is some lack of trust in the government, it's way easier to sell the concept of cryptocurrency. For example,
hmm,
if I talk to someone in Turkey, in Ukraine, in El Salvador, in Africa, and I explain the benefits of Bitcoin, they will get it straight away. And
mhm,
you see the massive rate adoptions in countries like Venezuela and Argentina, where inflation is simply ridiculous. However,
mhm,
you have no idea how hard it was for me to sell the idea of Bitcoin in Sydney. Because in Sydney, when you walk the street, people take banking for granted. People take low inflation for granted. People
hmm.
take that you have access to a mortgage to buy a home for granted. So when you come with the idea that, hey, there is new feature that would allow us to do in their mind to do everything that we're doing already. So
Hmm.
so there's not a problem. Why? What would change? However, in countries like, for example, yours, as you mentioned, boom, it's a game changer.
Definitely. It's actually very great because normally that the new technology is benefiting the already the most educated, the most financially strong countries and parts of the world. And if it's the opposite way around, it's balancing things out. Hopefully,
Of course, of course.
hopefully. All right. Also, what I wanted to ask you is obviously you work in a crypto hedge fund, and
Yes, I
there
do.
is an economical benefit to. I mean, it's a very popular investment asset, crypto. What are other use cases that normal humans like me and you, apart from our, in my personal life, for example, how could I use crypto and blockchain? What are the personal use cases?
Well, look. I mean, it's for example, let's you're living in Barcelona. You're living in a developed environment with a strong financial system, and under the rule of law. regardless that we joke and we read articles that say that things could be better. Obviously it could be better,
Mm-hmm.
but we live in a society that is developed and they have the minimum standards. So for us, all the things that the blockchain and crypto are solving in other regions, well, are not particularly critical. However, one thing I would say is that inflation.
Mm-hmm.
We got regulators and we got government officials around the world, especially in Western countries, saying that inflation is 3%, is 4%. When okay, think that for a second, think that in that 4%, and then go back and remember how much you pay for groceries and your local supermarket against what you're paying now for the
Mm-hmm.
same basket of groceries in your local supermarkets, and you will be amazed that it's close to 100% or even more.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one of the things, there is a video where I explain why this is happening and why this is wrong, but however, why they will continue with this wrong trend. So what I'm saying is that regardless of the inflation result that they are reporting, the real inflation is hitting your pocket very badly in countries
Mm-hmm.
like yours and mine. Actually, here in the United States, this is critical. However, what I would say is that without investment advice, this is a general comment, and I would say that cryptocurrency responsibly, it's an asset class as good as
Mm-hmm.
any other, as shares, as bond, as cash. So get documented, get informed about the benefits, the pros, the risk, and the benefits, and then consider as part of your portfolio of savings for your retirement, consider using a proportion or including a proportion of crypto asset in terms of your pie, I would say. And that way
Mm-hmm.
you will see that obviously they're risky. So obviously nobody can guarantee that things are going to go well. However, historically, so far, those who have included crypto asset in their portfolio have been benefit from the volatility and from the return so far. Again, no financial advice. I'm saying just simply take a look at the historical returns, take a look at the volatility, take a look at the risk, and then I would encourage you to consider
Mm-hmm.
including a small percentage to diversify your overall wealth,
Uh-huh.
to protect you from inflation, pretty much. Because
Hmm.
because if you put money in a certificate deposit in a bank, they don't want your cash. They're gonna pay you 0.0 something in
Yeah.
return in a year, and at the end of the year, you will get pretty much. If you put 1,000 euros, you will get 1,000.0000 cent euro, and then the inflation would eat out completely the purchase power of that money, and that's
Hmm.
sad.
Hmm.
That's sad.
Yeah, yeah. That's great. Let's leave this video that you mentioned in the description. I think it would be great to
Sure,
link it
sure,
to your
sure.
content as well.
The only caveat is in Spanish because
Ah, okay.
that was produced by the Blockchain Institute of Technology in Barcelona. However, I would commit here in your program, your podcast, to replicate a video in English. But yeah, because I think it's worth it.
Uh-huh. Definitely. And of course, like if there are any other links, how like maybe it would be a proper question as well, like how you educate yourself on blockchain and crypto. Please let us know any kind of resources that you would advise for the general public to consume, and let's leave those as well in the.
Absolutely, absolutely. They are the usual suspect. They are very good people. They are people working in a very uninterested way to educate the community. And they're great resources in English, in Spanish, in French that I know at least. So that they're worth reading. They're worth checking.
Okay. We'll leave all those links for sure. And
For sure.
as we're coming to the end, the last couple of minutes, I would like to leave to you, Carlos, to have your minute of glory, so to say, and
Uh,
just you can make a shameless self promotion in terms of
oh,
crypto Belobaba fund or your personal work, or how can
okay.
people get in touch with you and so on and so forth.
Well,
So feel free.
I'm going to say two things, and they are neither a political statement nor financial advice. The first thing is that I encourage people to reach out, people that are trying to get elected and they are Bitcoin friendly. We really need people in congresses. We really need people in governments around the world who understand the technology and not acting as a roadblock. Because if we elect the right official, they will hire the right regulator. and that would easy and that would promote the ecosystem that would grow this, because I believe that will be beneficial for all of us. And in terms of my work in Belobaba as a hedge fund, well, I would encourage you to first get educated into crypto assets, believe that it's a serious investment alternative, and I encourage you to consider including crypto assets part of your portfolio. And then obviously an organization like ours of Belobaba, so we're happy to answer any question you may have. We are very active in LinkedIn, and in social media. Well, reach out and ask a question, and we're happy to engage in a conversation.
All right, amazing. Sounds great, Carlos. Thank you so much for being here, for sharing all your expertise with us, and for giving
pleasure.
this great talk.
My pleasure, Pablo. Thank you for having me.